It's me. In 1986, just before the Chernobyl nuclear disaster, Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev introduced the concept of glasnost or openness as part of his policy of perestroika, which aimed at restructuring the stagnating Soviet Union. Glasnost allowed for greater freedom of speech and media, which resulted in an outpouring of creative energy that had been suppressed during the stricter policies of previous leaders. That same year, a young Russian filmmaker named Nikita Mikhalkov decided to take advantage of this newfound freedom and make a movie about the Spanish Civil War. The problem was that he had no money to make said movie, so he went to the Soviet film executives and asked them to lend him the money. They said sure, but we're gonna need you to attach a popular star to your project. So he ended up casting the biggest movie star in the country, Nikolai Kat. The executives then said that they wanted some input on the project, to which Mikhalkov agreed, and so he started writing a screenplay based on a book called The Burnt by the Sun. But once it was finished, the executives hated it. They thought the story was too depressing and the ending was ambiguous. So Mikhalkov, determined to make the movie of his dreams, decided to make the movie without them. This is a story I've told before, but I'm telling it again because the movie he made was the highest-grossing film in the history of Russian cinema. In today's money, it raking in over $400 million, a record that would stand until Disney's Frozen came along. But despite its popularity, the film's release wasn't exactly smooth. You see, while glasnost did allow for more freedom of speech, it didn't mean that everything went uncensored. And this movie was way too much for the censors to handle. It was banned for 4 years after its initial release. Why? Well, the reason it was banned is pretty obvious if you watch it. The film takes place during the Stalinist era, a time when the Soviet Union experienced rapid industrialization and modernization, but also extreme political repression and human rights abuses. It tells the story of a family whose lives are torn apart by the secret police, who arrest the father Kiko on false charges, leaving his wife and 2 daughters to fend for themselves. It follows their struggles to survive during the hard times of collectivization, when most of the farmland is owned by the state, and peasants are forced to work in industrial factories. It also shows how they were persecuted simply for being suspected of being enemies of the state, such as a neighbor who owns a radio, which is illegal since it can be used to listen to foreign stations. As you can imagine, these themes were quite controversial at the time. The film does not shy away from showing the brutality and paranoia of Stalin's regime, nor does it glorify the Communist Party or the Soviet system. This was something new for Soviet cinema, which had traditionally followed strict ideological guidelines and often portrayed the Communist Party in a positive light. The fact that it dealt with these sensitive topics and showed the Soviet Union in a negative way made it a risky venture for the filmmakers. There was no guarantee that it would be well received by audiences, or that it would avoid censorship. But the creators felt that it was important to tell these stories and shed light on this dark chapter of Soviet history. And it wasn't just the subject matter that made it controversial. The film also dealt with universal themes of love, loss, betrayal, and redemption, which resonated with audiences across the Soviet Union. Despite its bleak subject matter, the film has moments of humor and humanity that make it a powerful and moving experience. The cinematography was stunning, capturing the beauty of the Russian countryside, as well as the bleakness of the characters' lives. The soundtrack was memorable, blending traditional Russian folk music with original compositions. So, when it finally premiered in 1994, it became a cultural sensation. Audiences flocked to see it, and many saw it as a cathartic experience, a chance to confront the painful truths of their history. The film sparked widespread public debate and discussion about the legacy of Stalinism and the need for historical accountability. But it wasn't all positive. Some viewers were outraged by the film's portrayal of the Soviet Union and its leaders. And there were protests and calls for boycotts. These tensions were further heightened by the fact that the film was released at a time of political and economic uncertainty in Russia. The Soviet Union had collapsed in 1991, leaving Russia as an independent state, struggling to find its place in the world. Many Russians felt a sense of loss and nostalgia for the stability and security of the Soviet era. And they saw the film's critique of that system as a threat to their identity and values. But despite the controversy, the film's popularity remained high, and it continued to be shown in theaters across the country. Its impact on Russian society was undeniable. It was one of the first films to break the taboo surrounding discussions of Stalinism and the Soviet past, and it paved the way for other filmmakers to explore these themes. It also helped to raise awareness of the human cost of totalitarianism and the importance of individual freedom and human rights. The film's success was not limited to Russia. It won several international awards, including the Golden Lion at the Venice Film Festival and the Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film. It was praised by critics as a masterpiece of historical drama and one of the best films of the year. Today, it is considered a classic of Russian cinema and is studied in film schools around the world. Its influence on popular culture is evident in the numerous books, documentaries, and other films that have been inspired by it. But what about the people behind the film? What happened to the cast and crew after Burnt by the Sun? Mikhalkov continued to direct films and television shows and remained one of the most prominent figures in Russian cinema. He has won numerous awards for his work, including 3 Oscars and 5 Golden Eagles. Karachentsov, who played the lead role, continued to act in films and stage productions and was awarded the title of People's Artist of Russia. The other members of the cast also went on to have successful careers in film and television. As for the film itself, its impact on Russian society is still being felt today. It remains one of the most popular and acclaimed films in Russian history and continues to be shown in theaters and on television. Its themes of love, loss, betrayal, and redemption are as relevant today as they were when the film was released. And its unflinching portrayal of the Soviet past serves as a reminder of the importance of individual freedom and human rights. Thank you for watching.